I originally was going to do an April recap vlog. That was my idea because I just had so much footage built up from over the month of April, but we are now almost halfway through May. So I think I'm just going to call this video Spring in LA and do a little recap of where I've been, where I am, and where I'm going. The last check-in I did was around the end of March. And when I look back at the footage of a month ago, I was really not in a bad place. I don't think I've really been in a horrible place in LA mentally, but I was definitely in a place where I felt like I was living the same day over and over again. I felt like I would get up and I would eat protein and I would do my 10,000 steps and I would apply for jobs and I'd redo a resume for the 700th time and I'd be redoing my LinkedIn and I would maybe have some fun time at night watching a TV show while I ate dinner, and then I'd go to bed because I'd be so exhausted from the mental load of the day. And with the beginning of April, I had been here 2 months, and it just felt like I was doing that over and over and over again. And when my sister called to ask me about going to Palm Springs with her and her family, it was definitely a welcome change. I needed to get out of the apartment complex. I needed to drive a little bit, just let my brain go. I needed to see new things. I needed to be with different people than just my roommates. And I needed to just have that freedom to go out and do something different and have a little change. I definitely thrive the best under a schedule in terms of physical health, but I do not thrive mentally under a scheduled way of living. I thrive with new things every couple of days. Being someone who was thriving physically, but mentally just feeling very bored and not very challenged in that way or having new information, it was definitely a welcome change to get out of town. I had a great weekend with my sister and her family. It was nice to be with people who had known me for a long time. That was something that I talked about in a recent podcast episode, is to truly be known. I didn't have to explain a bunch of history of my life and different context of things because it's my family who's known me for years. And it was just nice to be with people who cared about me. They definitely were very gracious. I think I have a clip later in this vlog talking about provision and talking about just being cared for and generosity. There's a change in my thoughts on generosity watching my family be generous towards me and not having an expectation of anything in return. Because although it's now a month later, I still feel like I'm being reminded over and over again that living a generous life, even when you don't have income, or living a generous life, even when you're not seeing provision, is a blessed way of living, and it never hurts you. It never hurts you to help other people and never hurts you to give other people an exciting experience. While in Palm Springs, we went to art museums, we tried different restaurants. I got a little bit of fashion content there, but not a ton. One thing with my family is when I'm with them, no one else in my family is a chronic online social media person like I am. There's not a pressure to create, but there's also not an accountability to create. And so when I'm with them, I find myself doing what they want to do, and then my fashion content kind of falls to the side. But I still got to see a lot of art. I still got to have a little jorts moment with my nephew. And if you have a family member who is a teenager, you know what a blessing it is to have a teenager even think that you're remotely enjoyable to be around. So I was very grateful for that time with family and just the escape from not even LA, just my own mind. As I just mentioned, my podcast was restarted. I don't believe I talked about this in the last vlog. I've been feeling like I needed to restart the podcast for about 6 months, but with so many changes, I felt like I just wasn't ready to sit down and talk about everything and then have the editing on top of it. And I'm really happy I made the decision to start the podcast up when I did. I'm glad I waited a beat from moving to LA to starting another project. I really enjoy the podcasting, talking, explaining my different experiences, and I'm enjoying the relational part of it after, but the editing still is something that I don't love. And the fact that I just decided to do audio only this time, I'm so grateful to past Kaylee for making that decision to cut the visual, because the editing that's already annoying to do was doubly annoying trying to match up audio and visual. I really only want to do that for vlogs, and that's it. I don't even really like having to match up the audio and visual for this and slicing and lining everything up through a whole video for this. But the podcast has been really fun. One thing I've been trying to keep myself accountable on is not making it a therapy session. I think sometimes it's easy to pick up a microphone and talk about random things, and it's really fun and exciting. And I think there is a space for vulnerability there. I also don't want to utilize the podcast for talking about all my feelings and thoughts, because that doesn't need to be on the internet either. It's been a bit of a balance trying to learn that, like how much is too much and how much is just enough that people can connect with. Physically, I don't think I've been this physically healthy since maybe like 2019. I am mentally doing so well because of the weather. I've mentally kind of gone up and down in the last month and a half, but I've never had a moment where I just really was having like seasonal depression or just this apathy that was eating away at me in a way that felt helpless. I believe being in the sun, being in good weather, being active every single day has benefited me, because when I was back home in Minnesota, I would maybe do like 20 minutes on a treadmill, but I am seeing the effects of being in sunlight for a majority of the day, or just having a very bright space to be in. And I believe that that mental health stability and the way that I'm aiding myself with my mental health plays into my physical health, because it encourages me to get out and get moving. And especially when it comes to food, I think food has always been something that's been a little bit of not even a touchy subject, just something where I've struggled a bit, because it's not hard to go do a physical activity. It's hard to fuel your body correctly before and after to make sure that you are successful in the physical activity itself and then in the recovery of that. And I'm learning a lot about like the recovery process, because even when I was working out on a treadmill or being active back in Minnesota, I'd be so hungry by the end of a workout that I just would eat whatever was convenient, and that's not always the healthiest option. Versus now, I'm trying to make decisions that are about fueling myself for the best performance, even if it's just a 30-minute treadmill walk. How can I do it in a way where I'm not getting lightheaded, where I'm not feeling fatigued, where I don't come back starving? Like, what can I fuel my body with where I feel my best? Another example of progress in physical health is I was able to conquer Runyon Canyon. If you remember, the first or second week I was here, I went to Runyon with my roommate Beck, and I got to the top, but I was not feeling well. I genuinely wondered at one point if I was going to need to be like airlifted or taken somewhere, because I was so lightheaded. Accomplishing Runyon has made me feel like a gold medal Olympian, and I believe that's an extension of when I'm walking in the tennis courts and when I'm walking in the gym. There are times where I've been in the gym and I really thought it was like my final moments in life, and I'm like, no, you can do it. And I think about how I feel when I get done with the workout and I'm sitting back up here on this couch and I'm drinking a cold glass of water and the workout is done and I'm glad I did it and I'm glad I put my all into it. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm going through these hard things. And as I've built that stamina of hitting my accomplishments daily, it's given me such a confidence that when I go out and I do something like Runyon Canyon, which can be kind of intimidating or scary for someone who has not always thought of herself as an athletic person, it feels like a bigger accomplishment because you thought you couldn't do it and then you did it. Now that I'm coming with confidence, when I'm feeling like I want to complain or I'm feeling like really lethargic through the walk, I just remember that I've done it before and it's not something that I have to overcome. I've already conquered this, so I can do it again.
Hey guys, it is April 28th, 2025, and I am doing something today that I would not call fun. I would not call it enjoyable. Some might even fight that it's not necessary. Today I'm doing Runyon Canyon for a second time. So we're gonna get ready together while I prepare for that. LA has been so cold this month, so we're doing leggings and I don't know, a sweatshirt. I'm probably wearing the exact same thing I wore last time I was there. My woman's sweatshirt will inspire me. I think I'm also gonna bring a t-shirt because last time I wanted to take my sweatshirt off and I couldn't. It's not that I couldn't. I just didn't have a shirt on underneath. I just had a bra. I think my biggest issue last time was I pushed myself too hard too fast, like I wasn't ready for the incline of Runyon, and I also think I was dehydrated. So this time it is like an hour before we leave right now, and I'm gonna go just chug a bunch of water, make sure I'm really hydrated, and that I can use the bathroom before I go. Because that was part of why I didn't want to drink water on my walk last time, was that I had to use the bathroom. But then I got to a point where I was so lightheaded I needed water. I've been working on cardio a couple times a week down on a Stairmaster in our gym at our apartment complex. So I'm hoping that this will be inspiring update, because I did finish Runyon the first time that I did it, but I definitely was on the verge of feeling like my life was over. And I don't want to feel that this time. So I'm going to try and prepare a little bit more, maybe have some protein too. You guys can all cheer me on from behind the screen. This doesn't look great because it's been sitting in a drawer, but I'm doing a little Love and Light Botanicals Habitual Hydrator. This is like their moisturizer. You guys know I love Casey. I've been working with Love and Light for like a year and a half, and they're one of the most natural skincare companies I can find. If you're someone with PCOS or endometriosis who's looking for a product that doesn't have a bunch of chemicals and hormone disruptors, I would highly recommend. Each one of these bottles lasts me like 2 months probably. I'm also just gonna throw a little sunblock on. I actually came out here to tell you about a product I'm not loving. This is the green tea matcha. It's actually currently what I'm drinking. But I was having this with a Chobani strawberry white chocolate something creamer, because I was kind of trying to make my own like strawberry matcha at home. Once the Chobani ran out, I started to realize that this isn't good. It was the Chobani that was good. So I think it's the toasted rice part. I don't know why we have to have toasted rice in here, but I think that's the part that I'm not loving. I would not recommend. But I am trying a different blend of matcha and a electrolyte that's strawberry flavored. And I will let you know once I start doing that if I like it better. That'll be in the May vlog.
Oh, good, good, good.
I want to get the views.
Do you want to go first?
And the view down there.
A huge theme from this last 2 months has been developing friendships. I have talked about this. I will continue to talk about this. Friendships have been either the most difficult or most pivotal moments of my time here. I know I'm the type of person who gets along with people well. I know I make friends easily. I know I'm good at connecting, but there is just something about coming into a new place and giving yourself the patience and time to meet the right people. I haven't regretted any of the social stuff that I've done, but I've definitely reminded myself that there are people I'm going to click with and people I'm just not going to click with. And just because we have a few things in common doesn't mean that we're meant to be friends. It's just something where I'm trying to feel out every single relationship I have. Is this a friend? Or is this someone that I could work with? Or is this someone who's going to be an acquaintance? And trying to categorize the different people. In a future podcast episode, I talk about the tiers of friendship, and I bring that concept back up, which I've talked about here before. It's been very beneficial after meeting with people, analyze another time, like where would they fall on my tiers of friendship? Are they a first tier? Are they a third tier? How much time should I invest? How much time will they invest? How interested are we both in these friendships? I feel like if I had talked about this at the beginning of the vlog, I would have felt really discouraged and down. Now I'm at a point where I'm starting to develop some deeper friendships and really enjoy my time with people and invest in certain people. And I feel like they are reciprocating that. And it just feels really good to kind of get in the groove where now we've hung out 2 times, 4 times, 5 times. And it's no longer this, here's the context of my whole life, or like, here's every story I tell, I have to tell you the whole story behind it. Now we've developed this history and these jokes and these things that were funny last time that we can kind of bring into this time together. Or I remember you telling me this last time we were together 3 weeks ago. Like, how did that go? There's something about that deepening of friendship that's been really beautiful. And I feel like it's really transformed in the last month. One example of a friendship that's been really beautiful is Shaylee. I've talked about her before. I think she's been in another vlog. Shaylee is my friend who I know through family friends in Iowa. She is just a ray of sunshine. She's so giggly. And we just are like silly gooses together. She loves the Lord. I feel like it's also something where sometimes you have friends and you both have really good life experience and advice to give each other, but it's tough when one person doesn't listen. And I think with Shaylee, something that I really enjoy is that I feel like I'm learning from her and I feel like she learns from me. And there's no competition in the friendship. And I really enjoy that.
Okay, look who I'm with. Hi guys! We just got some coffee. We're gonna go fight the government. But I wanted to do a little vlog moment before we go fight the government on some parking situations. 2 of them. In case there are tears. I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm praying we meet someone from the Midwest who gets it, but we will check back afterwards. That's so crazy.
Okay, I don't think it's giving.
Okay, so hear me out. I think it's the top and the bangs.
Is the top too
Like
big?
if you just styled it a little different, I think honestly the length, if it was just a little longer, if it was like shoulder length with a little flip out, you could.
Oh God, it's the top.
We're currently in country western season here in LA. Everybody is done with Coachella. People are going now to Stagecoach this last weekend, and then the Cowboy Carter opening night happened last night. A bunch of influencers went to the Cowboy Carter opening night, got tickets, I think they're like SeatGeek or something. So I just feel like everyone in LA all of a sudden is a cowboy. Like everybody in LA went from dressing in streetwear to being like cosplaying cowgirls, and listen, it's not my thing. I like to have fun. I like to dress up. I'm just not like I'm not really a Western girl. I am ready for people to go back to normal. I know that 90% of you have never been on a ranch. I'm not saying I have, but I'm also not cosplaying as a cowgirl. But you know what? Frankly, if someone gave me free tickets to something, I'd go all out too. I feel like April's been such a weird month. I brought back the podcast. I'm posting the second episode tonight when I walk in here. I feel like I've had some of the best and some of the worst days this month. I feel like the highs and lows have really been high and low. I'm in a weird transition in between moment because I'm no longer new. In a week I'll have been here 3 months. And I feel like when you've been somewhere a fourth of a year, you're not fully invested in the place yet. You're just starting, but you're also not new enough where people like give you a pass on stuff. So I just feel like I need to learn a lot of things. And I think I'm also kind of being harsh on myself because I go between logic of you've only been here almost 3 months to like, why are my friendships not deeper? Why do I not have more opportunities? I just constantly am like going back and forth between the two. I feel like I'm rushing myself, but I'm also feeling behind. I'm praying that gets better in May. I pray I have more peace because the Lord's been really good to provide. Like provision has been the name of the game this month. He has blessed me in so many ways, even outside of finances. I think people hear the word provision, they think money. But the Lord has blessed me a lot in terms of like social provision and opportunities and even getting some new views on my social media. Like the Lord's blessing me and He's enriching my relationships and giving me like deeper conversations with people. So it's not so shallow anymore, but sometimes I just struggle. I want to have the heart and the familial feeling of Minnesota, but I want to have it here. This month has been me battling my logical and my emotional self, and it kind of is a day by day whoever wins thing. But hopefully as I get into more vlogs, I'm here another month, maybe by the end of May, things will be different. That's my prayer.
Another friendship I was very blessed by is a gal named Shayla. My Shayla. Shayla, I met through background acting. She is the director of the film that I did the background acting for, and we ended up just grabbing a coffee together, realizing that she and I had a lot in common. We had a lot of similar interests and background story. And then it was interesting because she texted me the day after our coffee chat, and she goes, "Hey, I actually have a free ticket for Disneyland next week if you'd like to join me and my friend Talia." So I spent a whole free day at Disney, and it was just a fun day. It was, again, nice to just get out of the house, do something. Other than the coffee, and I think I got like a treat, it was completely free day for me. It was such a blessing, and it was definitely an answer to prayer, because although I'm not like a Disney adult, this was just one experience that everyone had recommended. So I've been praying that the Lord would help me have that experience within a budget, and he just gave me a free ticket, and he was so good to do it. But through that time together, Shayla and I have discovered that she, as a director, would like to kind of recraft her social media and her image. So going along with that, I've not only developed a friendship with her, we're now in a working relationship too, and she's my first client that I've signed in LA, and I'm working part-time for her every month. And just this first month, we're kind of consolidating everything together, making sure we're on the same page, what's the direction we're going. And then next month, I'm going to start actually doing the active posting throughout the month and just kind of revitalizing her feed. A fun activity I did this month to bolster friendship is something called Real Roots. I just did this past week. About a month ago, at the start of this vlog time, I took a compatibility test, and you talk about your lifestyle, how much you like to spend when you go out, what type of activities do you like to do with friends? Do you like to hike? Do you like to go to a museum? Do you want to go shopping? Do you want to go to a coffee shop? They ask questions about, do you like to travel? Are you okay with things like alcohol? Are you okay with things like smoking? Do you align with a religious value? Which religion do you most closely align with? They had a lot of good questions that were in depth and really getting at the heart of what type of person are you? What's your lifestyle? And what would you be comfortable engaging with? Like, what type of person would you be comfortable with? And then this last week, I went and we met at a brewery, and they had, I think, like 40 people there. There was 4 tables, and each table had 10 people on it, and those were the 10 people who are most likely to get along based on their answers.
Alrighty, I look a little crazy, but I promise in about 20 minutes I won't. And for you guys, that's like 3. Today's a very interesting day because I'm probably about to meet like 10 new people. I've been getting really into Threads recently. That's basically like Instagram's version of Twitter, or what is now X. And I'm finding that there's a lot of creative people in the LA area who are utilizing Threads to connect and get to know one another. So I decided 2 weeks ago to start utilizing it for the same reason. And this afternoon, I am going to meet a gal that I met through our connection on that app. So I'm meeting her at 3:45 this afternoon at a place called Bread and Butter in Hollywood. I had it saved on my list because a lot of people had recommended it for its pastries and just like the ambiance. And then after that, I'm doing something really interesting tonight. A month ago, I did a compatibility test where I answered like 50 questions about myself, my lifestyle, my belief system, my finances. And from those answers, a group of experts did a compatibility test to see what type of people would get along really well. So tonight, I'm heading over to Santa Monica Brew Works, and I am going to meet the people that I would be compatible with. I think this is the final look. I'm loving the red on red on red. Sunglasses are Audrey K, which is a boutique here in LA. I made the necklace. I went to a thrift store a couple weeks ago and got this top. Jeans are Reformation. Shoes are also thrifted. I wanted something a little fun, a little preppy, but I didn't want to be like too crazy with it. I want to like represent who I am accurately and not overdress. My dream for tonight would be that everything goes well when I meet this girl from Threads, and that there's no awkward moments. As you're getting to know people, you have like all this stuff to tell them about, or the questions to ask, and you kind of go through this list, and then you get through your list and you're like, and now what? Versus at least the dinner, I'll have multiple people, we'll all kind of be talking, hopefully. Well, whatever the outcome, I hope I just have more friends by the end of the night, and I hope it's not awkward, and I hope that I don't drive home and question everything that I said along the way. And praying. Thursday nights are usually my Bible study night, so I am really praying that I can at least make it to the after. They're doing a little game night after Bible study night, so I'm like, please, Lord, I've seen what you've done for others. Let me make it. I really like my Bible study. I like my group of people there. They're very fun. And I feel safe with the guys. I think that's really key. Is like I haven't met a guy in that group who makes me feel Christian girls will understand this. Actually, frankly, most women will get this. You know when you go into a group of people and you're just a friendly person, and then sometimes guys take that the wrong way. And I've definitely been in Christian circles where guys like did not read the room right, and you're like, hey, friend, so good to see you. And it's like, I'm not giving you anything that insinuated I wanted more than just like a friendship in our Bible study, but you are reading into my bubbly personality more than you need to. So I'm grateful that I'm in a small group where I feel like I am safe with the men. That's a non-negotiable, but sometimes that's hard to find because when you're a single woman, they're prowling. They're like Bailey in the middle of the night when she's like digging into cushions. I'm like, that, I'm good, you know? I'm good.
I will say I had a good time getting to know the girls. I don't know where it's going to go. We started a group chat and I'm kind of feeling like somebody, it's probably going to be me, needs to just set up like another social thing and just say, hey girls, like let's get together. Because otherwise it kind of felt like we had all this momentum in the moment and we were making these connections and we had all these, oh, we should do this, or finding me and this other person had something we wanted to try. And then we talked about trying it together. And now it's been a week and I haven't heard from these girls. I guess that's a little confusing to me because the whole point of it was to make deep friendships in the city and then people are not following up. So I feel like I'm probably gonna have to be the one to go in the group chat and be like, hey gals, I'm doing this on this day. Anyone who can come, you're welcome to come. Like would love to see all of you again. But Real Roots itself was a great experience. They had a table leader and the table leader would come around. She listened to answers. She would facilitate conversation, give more questions. And Monica just did a great job. And overall, it was a good experience. That day was just really interesting because I had coffee with a girl named Janae. We connected over Instagram threads because she was like, hey, I just moved to LA. I'm like, I did too. So we went to coffee and then I went right from coffee to the Real Roots happy hour to Bible study game night. So I went to 3 social things in a row and I'm a very social person. But let me tell you, by the time I hit the door for Bible study, I was like, I don't regret it now because I had a good time and I did like have a second wind and revive. But in that moment, I definitely was like, should I have come to this third social thing? I just think that's kind of the season I'm in right now. All I have is time. Like, I don't have a lot of money to give. I can't be like throwing down money on nice dinners or like a huge shopping day. But the thing I can do is give my time. Even when I'm feeling tired, I feel like I've never regretted giving my time to social things here and digging in deeper. Speaking of Bible study, I love my Bible study. I am so blessed. I had been praying to the Lord, oh, I just want to be with like friends that are Christians, that I have this good, stable ground when I get to LA. And God, He came through on it. He gave me Mel and Becca's roommates who are very strong believers. But then Mel brought me into this Bible study 5 days into living here. And I just love the Bible study. I love Jen and Preston are the leaders of our Bible study. I like that they're not going through questions that the church has predetermined. I like that they are basically coming every week with either something that Jen is learning and then she's teaching, or it's something where the group is just open for discussion. What is the topic that you want to talk about? Let's like dive into the word, study it together. And I just love a house church vibe. I like a house study. I don't necessarily always resonate with a big church setting or like 50 people. I'm going to be with like a good dozen and really get to know them and dig in and have that community. And I feel like I'm finally getting in a groove with like friendships overall. That also includes church. I feel like I'm finally getting into a groove. I have visited a lot of churches. There's great churches in LA, but I definitely feel like they can tiptoe a little bit around truth. It's just been a blessing to be in a Bible study that's regular, and now seemingly finding a church home that feels like a good fit and going every single week. I also really like that in both settings, I have an idea of what to expect. There's a comfort level of understanding what's going to happen, but also loving that there's always a surprise involved. There's always something that, like Julian, the pastor, will say, or there's always a cool factor of like the worship set that I wasn't expecting, and or I go to Bible study and I just don't know what the topic will be, or I don't know what we're going to discuss. And that's really exciting to know that you're going into a place where you feel safe and there's things you can count on and people you can count on, but then there's also a challenging of your mind and a challenging of your thoughts and the way that you live your life, and a conviction with that is really beautiful. I just got home and I haven't eaten anything or had any caffeine today, so I thought I'd have a little discussion on what my new matcha process is. I got some new utensils and I'm ready to make something different. So normally I just do hot water, and then I got this matcha powder. It's Japanese matcha green tea powder from Sprouts, and I put it in this cup, and then I take hot water and I pour it in like you would regular tea. And then I've been using this thing, and you do a little stir for the matcha, but I've really been wanting more of a strawberry, because I don't truly like matcha just on its own. I found I like a strawberry flavor, like a berry raspberry flavor. Originally people were recommending this, but it doesn't mix in well, so then you're just drinking like hot matcha with cold jam. So I don't know what I'm gonna use this for, since it's strawberry topping and it's not actually like a jelly. I don't really know what to use it for, but I've been switching it up. I've been using the Hydrate 310 strawberry electrolyte, and I just do like half a packet in my matcha every day. Then I just fold it up, throw it back in here. The reason I do that is not because you can't use a full packet, it's because these are a little expensive for someone who's unemployed currently, so I'm trying to utilize them as best I can. For today, I want to do something a little bit different, because I want to do like a cold foam on top. So I want to do like the tea, and then I want to have a cold strawberry foam. So I tried this originally with the awful jam, and it just was like, there was so many textures and experiences that were not blending well. Church today was one of the best sermons I have heard at Oasis. A lot of times pastors here will just water down truth because it sounds good and it's easy. And frankly, I think a lot of it has to do with money, because if people feel good when they leave church, they're gonna wanna keep coming back to church, and then they keep giving. And I think, unfortunately, money has become the driving force of a lot of churches here in LA. But that's why I feel really good about Oasis, because I just know that he is not watering down what needs to be said to make it more like appetizing, I guess. And this morning he was talking about humility and how the key to humility is allowing yourself to be under authority. My apologies if you hear music in the background. Our upstairs neighbors are, I guess, having a little piano recital. But he was talking about how the most humble people are always under authority of other leaders that are trustworthy. And he was saying how feelings are not bad, but it's not the goosebumps during worship that let us know that we're following God. It's our obedience in our life, and it's being under God's authority that really tell us whether our heart is aimed to please the Lord or please ourselves. This is definitely the best version I've made so far with the cream, but I really think it is the whipping cream that's like, something's off there. And I don't know if it's like just a true whipping cream doesn't mix with tea very well. So my question remains, what dairy product are we using at these tea places to get a good frothy, creamy foam? Yeah, it's kind of like tea and strawberry yogurt. Still haven't mastered it. We'll continue this in the next vlog. Church was good. There were some things that were convicting me. He was saying stuff about praising God before things happen. Like, you just sit and you complain about the job you don't have, but you like aren't praising God for the job you will have and the money you have, because God already knows like it's gonna be happening. I felt particularly called out by that one, not just because of the job situation, but there was something that happened this week that I was telling my friends about, where I was watching a show And the show is like 15 years old. And something in the show impacted me right now today that was written about something that was happening like 15 years ago, I guess, and how the people who were writing 15, 16 years ago probably had no idea that them writing that would impact a girl in 2025. But like the Lord knew that when he had that written in the show. And it's not like a Christian show, it's like a secular show. So just even things like that, I'm like, okay, Lord, like you see things before they happen, you see opportunities before they come. I think I'm getting a little bit like, not even jaded, but just a little apprehensive about job related things because there's been so many options that have come my way in the last month. And then people seem like really excited to work together. Oh my gosh, I want to hire you. And I think I'm just learning like until something is put in writing or until something is like actively occurring, I can't get too excited. So there's this weird balance of trying to like trust God that he has a job that's going to be great for me, or maybe multiple projects that will like really bless me financially. But I'm also trying to not get myself too excited because I've done that already and then I get hurt because people don't actually follow up or say what they mean. So I'm just trying to learn how to honor God with the fact that he is a God who makes a promise and keeps it, but also evaluate like human failure in that a little bit, or human just like decision making in that too. I think if I could summarize this whole month, it would be getting in the groove. I feel like I've finally hit my stride and gotten the groove of LA. I'm getting the map of the city down. Yesterday, I went to brunch with a new friend named Sabrina, who I met through my friend Marcus, and we are getting along swimmingly. She is so funny. She's doing some improv this summer, so I'm going to go try and see some of her shows. But we went to brunch yesterday, and I was driving home, and my phone overheated. It's so hot here right now in LA. We're having a heat wave. It was like 96 degrees yesterday, and it was so hot, even with AC on in my car, my phone shut off. I had to find my way back. It wasn't perfect. There were definitely some streets I went off on and then I kind of came back to, and I went, no, I kind of remember like taking this street this way. So I'm still in the learning process, but I feel like when it comes to navigating the actual city, but also navigating friendships, navigating work balance, and like maybe what my work will be out here, I feel like things are finally starting to go into place, and I feel really confident with where I'm heading. I've been praying a lot just as I'm kind of talking now about like the future. That's kind of a summary of where I've been. But going forward, I could definitely use prayer on the difference between a passion point and a place of authority. Actually, Pastor Julian was talking about that specific thing this morning. He was saying there are things that he's passionate about, and then there's areas he has authority. And sometimes they commingle and sometimes they don't. And I've been doing a lot of journaling and time just quietly praying about like, what is my identity? Like, what is my passion? And this is before I even listened to the sermon today in person. I wrote out 9 things that I enjoy doing, and then I forced myself to rate them from 1 to 9, of like 1 being my favorite thing of the whole list and 9 being my least favorite. I want to now sit as I'm going forward through the rest of May and going into the summer and really diving into what are my top 5 and how do they play out? Are they just a passion point? They're just something fun? Or is it something that I have a level of authority in and people trust me with? And so I'm trying to evaluate that and just figure out kind of next steps. And really just like overall identity is kind of the name of the game right now, because I uprooted my whole life and I'm in the midst of trying to kind of figure out, who am I in LA? What does my life look like here? And what is the future of my time here? Who will I be? Who will I meet? Where will I go? What will I do? The important questions. So if you would join me in prayer on that, I would really appreciate it, because I think I've sought the Lord on it. I feel like I've got solid answers. But now I just want to see what's confirmed and what I should like continue forward in. And I'm glad that I went to the Lord first and didn't just go from scratch being like, other people tell me who I am and like what my identity is. I'm grateful that I had the Lord to go to and to help me with that. For the rest of May, I will be heading home in a week and a half, which is very exciting. I have a friend who's getting married. I'm covering her wedding, doing her video, and it's just going to be the first time I'm home in 5 months. So I'm ready to go to Zoe back in Minnesota and see my friends. I'm ready to check up on, I've had multiple friends have babies since I left. So I'm excited to see them with their either 4 million kids or their first child. And I've never seen them as parents. I am excited to see my family. I'm going to be on the news. I'm going to be a makeup model for my friend Hillary Klein on the news while I'm back. And then I'm also getting my hair done with Bridget. So I'll get to see Bridget and kill two birds with one stone in that way and get. Wait, her last name is Stone. I will kill two birds with one stone. But I'll get my hair done because, girl, these roots, they've grown out. And I haven't had a haircut since November. It's been 6 months and it is more than time. So next time you guys see me, I will be in Minnesota. I will be with family. I'm sure I'll have something like reflective and profound to say about being home. But that's my spring in a nutshell. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting. Really, truly, I want to build a community. So I always ask that you guys leave a comment, tell me what's happening in your life. And that's not just like, oh, I should say this thing. I genuinely want to build community in YouTube. I really love the way YouTube can build that familial friendship community aspect. I think it does it better than short form platforms. So truly, if you guys have anything exciting coming up, like put it down in the comments. And then I just want everyone to go celebrate exciting things that are happening for people as we transition from spring to summer.